Hi everyone, welcome back. This is part of like my construction, building, architecture, drawing series. It's gonna be like 100 volumes by the time I'm done, like a century from now. But I'm trying to draw out like a custom concrete home. That's the one I really want to focus on because it seems to last the longest. Since there's a Bible verse that Jesus tells you to build upon rock, and concrete is actually ground up rock and just reformed so that it's actually a little stronger and newer if done correctly. Now, if you put too much sand in it, because in the same verse, Jesus talks you about not building sand, but you find out sand is actually little tiny rocks. And the most solid form is actually cut rock that's already been, put together, but that's kind of hard to find pre-done. But if you do find it, you can use it. That's what our foundation and our house in Vietnam is. It looks like this house. It's like the same basic color on the inside. And it's actually on the outside this color too. It actually was white first, and before that it was kind of gray and other colors mixed in there. This house is actually painted on the outside with a plaster, and so we're gonna go to our drawing. This is, if you're wondering, it's Visio 2007, but you can use any software you want. You can even use paint. You can draw it by hand. We started out drawing it by hand first, but for the beams, let's see. Here we go. I think it's under structure. You would have some kind of beam or something. There's some missing items here. Not every item's in this list. You can add more somehow. You think you just right click on it. Add to my shapes. It's disabled. I'll have to figure out how to make that work. But in the meantime, you can temporarily just put it in any circle, because our beams are actually in the circle shape, and they can be any shape you want. You can make a hexagonal shape, you can make a square shape. That's standard, because when you have blocks that are flat, they butt together like in a square shape, so it makes it easier to finish the job. Otherwise, if you have a fancier shape or a rounded shape, there's actually a bigger gap, which is still not too hard to do with cement. You can just seal up the hole. But when you're doing this part one plan that I kind of forgot at the beginning, but I remembered later, is that you gotta plan out your openings in the wall. That's including your door, your window, and any water related. Ideally, every room would have some kind of water, at least to cool the room, and and like a little bathroom in every room, and then electrical wiring. Both AC, DC is prudent to do. That's a smart thing to do, because you're going to get to that eventually. And then heating, cooling, ventilation, and air condition, and then also openings for any other extra stuff like security, fancy stuff like LED lighting. Sometimes people want like a recess, so like this ceiling, if you look up at the top, has a recess here, and so that's an extra feature that I originally didn't plan in my design, but really I just wanted lighting to plug in. That's always an easier one for me, because you can just wire outlet and then just plug in lights. And that's something that you can actually buy, or you can make a light yourself if you have time. And I guess that saves you some money, but then you burn some time. So it's always between like time and money, like prayer and God. So everybody wants more God and heaven, but that's there's a limit to everything. Even though you feel unlimited sometimes, that's like the eternal the feeling we get, but it's really not that way. So we go to the strong air. So the last video I put an oven. I need to take a measuring tape to see if my oven's a 21 or 24 inch. They are different sizes. One's a little bigger, so the bigger ones have a little more power. It looks more impressive on the outside. It probably costs a little more money too. So, so we're just drawing kind of like this, and you just put the oven to the side here. And then this here, you can see the dimensions of the room here now come up. On the first video you didn't see it because I didn't click on it yet, so it's kind of delayed. I was thinking I'd have to enter these in manually, but whatever you stretch it out to, this is right now in US size. This is feet and inches. So if you're not familiar with that, and they don't have yards yet, but there's probably a add-on that you can make or download to get that. So this corner box here just kind of expands proportionally the dimensions of the room, and this will actually stretch one side of the room. So that's kind of difference between each of these boxes here. Now, as you learn the software, you'll kind of remember this, at least intuitively or subconsciously, and then later on it'll become conscious. So, a really big room, it could be huge. You could build like 100-foot room if you got enough land, but that's gonna take a long time, literally like decades. I've already worked on this house. Over the calendar year, it's like been almost 8 years, but like real time we put in is less than 2, so or less than 18 months, because we don't have our full crew here yet too. There's other workers that have to come back and help later on. So you can build the whole house with just 2 people or 3 or even just 1 person. It just takes longer. So, and then when you're talking about permitting, the government will give you kind of a standard one about how much time it should take, but you have to let them know, if you're not done yet, because legally they cannot tax you until the house is finished and that you actually live in it, and you can only be taxed for what you use, a fair price, not overcharge for somebody else's gain, greed, or salary. Like, I don't get paid for building this house, to be honest, yet. I hope someday, to rent it out, but I haven't actually rented out even a single second or a day. So I'm kind of looking at the number here. So it's 13 feet right now. I'm not sure. Let's go, standards usually like 10 by 10. I've seen 10 by 8. Let's go nice and roomy. Let's go 15, but this room is probably like at least 15 feet. So we'll just go straight 15. So 15, and then this way is like 15 feet too. So we can fit a lot of cool things in there. Alright. And then here the walls are all flat, but you can actually insert, I think, like a shape. There used to be a thing here called shape or something like this thing. Right here, drawing, just to make your own. It's like, this is how I drew originally the beams. So like a circle. No, that's an oval. There we go, like a circle. So the beams are like that big. But these are actually 12 inches. If you just do a shape, you won't get the inches and stuff on it. But it gives you an idea where they are. You can exaggerate so you can kind of focus on that. Now you build the frame. When we built the house, we actually built the frame first, and then I'll go back to my screen here so I can see myself. we built the frame first, and before that we built the foundation, and before that we did the dirt work, and then before that we actually built a shed that we temporarily only slept in to have a place to live. But you gotta live on the property if you want to save time. Otherwise, commuting is a little hard. You could live at a neighbor's house, but that time our neighbor was down the street a ways, and we could have slept in the living room and rented out the living room to somebody. And I'm thinking of doing that. It sounds kind of weird at first, but when you understand that you could make like $5,000 a month from renting every space in your house, even at night if they were quiet, or you could just put paper in your ears or put an earmuff on. I don't know why I still have my headphones on. This is so I can hear. I was watching some videos. So one was actually the Dying Light 2 video, reaction video by somebody from Gameology, like Omar or something. Like, I forgot his name. He has a very unique name, so one I've never seen before. So, and some other a woman who's like a stuntman. Sometimes it's kind of interesting. But I think those jobs are really dangerous. Like, people have lost an arm. I've heard, I've seen it. Like, somebody with missing an arm and leg, and somebody like Bruce Lee's son died during a stunt. That's what I heard, and I'm like, it's so dangerous. Like, why do we like to watch that? Now, I don't like to watch it anymore at all. I try to run away from it, avoid it. But you find out that you can edit the game, and I'd love to redo the Dying Light game. I like to see before, like Living Light, like when it was normal in the city, and just enjoy that. I'd be happy. Wasn't that the whole point of games in the beginning? Like when you were a kid, like nobody wanted to see somebody passing away. That just is screwed up. But they don't pass all the way away. You find out, you're really like half dead. Your soul is a lot tougher than it looks, but your body is so fragile. It's like paper. So, all right. So let's go back to drawing and work on this a little. So we go to the kitchen. Let's see, what's annotations? Okay. Okay, these are like notes you can add for reference, and that's kind of cool. The range, the refrigerator's a must. We actually have just one refrigerator is what we started with, so. But does it show you the dimensions? I don't know. We're trying to. Oh, at the bottom it does. Oh, it shows the kind of like the coordinates. I don't know what sizes, and they all look the same. They're little, slightly different sizes. One bigger than the other. So I'm just going with the smallest refrigerator. And it said refridge one. I think that's what most people have. And then we actually have a chest freezer in the shed, so I'm gonna see what it looks like. We have that. That's a big chest freezer. My God, that looks like it's like twice as big as the refrigerator. And then this is actually a microwave. Oops. This here is a microwave. You could build, if you want it really simple, I've thought about this. You could build a house with just 4 walls and not have any extra walls, and then just put up it would save you some money, and you could just put basic framing, and it would save you some extra doors and windows and whatever else you're going to put inside of it, and then add it later if you wanted to, and then just put a curtain. Like at the hospital, they kind of do that to section out the room. But structurally, I think it's a little bit weaker. So, but if you got to go to like the most minimum budget, that can be done. You could go with the thinnest walls too, and like just the space shuttle or like the space station. And just thin metallic walls, but there's a problem with that. The heat actually transfers through, and so it gets really hot, yeah, or cold. So that's the reason why most people would do. That's why most people have at least like a 6-inch thick wall, like an inch on the outside, 4 inches on the inside, and an inch on the outside, maybe a little more. So maybe it's like 7 to 8. Our walls are actually 8 inches with insulation, so we're trying to make them stronger because of the hurricanes that are here. But in other parts of the world, you have storms, which are basically the same thing. Hurricanes are just a different word to describe like a very big storm. So, but the winds really do get blowing up to 100 miles an hour, Category 5 alone. I've seen it go up to 300 miles an hour, and if there's a Category 10 plus, if you plan for that, you would have the strongest house. It probably lasts hundreds of years at least. So, which is nice, because you don't have to worry about rebuilding the house and putting out the labor as you get older, and it frees you to rent out the house and go on vacation. It's a real simple thing. That's the same thing any business really does. When they're charging you for space, like at a restaurant, you're paying rent, really. It's not only just paying for food. If it was only food only, it'd be cheaper a little bit. But then there's transportation, and they're going to deliver it, so ends up the total cost is about the same either way you go. It's just you're paying rent there, but you're paying by the minute or the second or hourly, a short-term rental. It's the same thing with hotels. They're actually renting to you. You find out short-term, and that's how they make so much money, because they're renting you for like a day or a night for, sometimes a really high rate, $100, which doesn't sound like a lot of money up front, but if you only make $50 a day, which is a lot of people in the world. Literally, I think there's billions of people who make that or less in a day, and it ends up being, all you've saved up for 2 days of solid work, and you only get to stay for one night. So it's not quite fair. That's why there's Airbnb. There's coupons that help discount. There's discounts on your cards. That's kind of nice. Some people get points and a 5% discount. A 50% discount is pretty big. More than that's even better. Free nights helps. A 2-for-1 deal. Because some hotels charge $100, $200 a night. There's places that are like actually, I heard 10,000 a night or some ridiculous amount of money. I've never lived in a place that expensive, or even visited, or even I've seen it on the outside maybe, but I don't really know. Like the presidential suite at the Sheraton. And there's many Sheratons in the world, but I've physically seen probably only a few. And then on video I've seen more, of course, but I've never been to those places, so that's different. Even though this is a video, and you're here virtually with me now. This window here, if you're wondering, is actually a certain dimension, but this software is kind of generic. It doesn't have everything enabled, so you do get the torrent version like I do. Just do what you can. Even if you buy the full version, I'm sure stuff's missing from it. You're not going to always get the full set of everything. So you get close as you can, and then you can redraw this by hand if you need to. So you can just leave this printed out and actually draw on top of it. So you can combine what you need to do. Garden accessories. Oh, brick pathway. I've actually built one of those back in the day. That would be kind of nice. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, we can. Okay, so it does work. That's kind of nice. It's already kind of this slanted, angled brick, which I don't really like much. I like the straight one. Partly because the slanted kind of makes me feel Makes me feel kind of dizzy. And then it looks kind of ugly, to be honest. So there's a wood gate, there's a concrete pathway. That's kind of nice. Let's put that back here. Oh, that's kind of nice. That's funny. Just little triangles right. Yeah, that's what concrete looks like. That's what we all think about it. Oh, here's your love seat. There's a small plant. That's kind of cool. Let's put some plants in there. I don't know what kind of plant that is. Wow. That looks different than the icon, right? Yeah, you wonder why that is in software. What the icon is actually one piece of software, and then the item you pull out can be another piece that's hidden inside of the computer. So what you're seeing is a visual representation of what's inside. That can change. So, all right. So let's work on this a little more. Here's a bed. That's kind of cool. So if you made your house, if you start with a house all one room first, that's the cheapest thing to do. You can start with a really small house, like 400 square feet. Technically, you would need only like 100 square feet for one person to live. So if you're single, you could start with that and then add on later. That makes the project really easy, and make the shortest ceiling you can, which is actually like 7 feet. You can make 6 feet too, but it's so tiny. You find that there's problems, like if you jump, you're gonna hit your head. If somebody's taller than that, they would hit their head. Like Shaq going in a 6-foot house. But but the extra space helps because your house might sink someday. And also you have flooding issues, so if you're higher up, it's better. So I recommend you find out what is the highest it's ever flooded and build higher up than so. Because no matter how thick you make your foundation, the ground tends to change, get softer. If a miracle happens, part of your foundation starts to go missing. I think that's what happened to that house in Florida that stood, that 12-story apartment building. It stood for years. So something odd happened. I think it's because of the sand, too. If you look at the photos, there's like sand all around, and there's a lot of areas of Florida like that. So if you build in areas a lot of sand, the water and stuff can sink, and that can, you know, the chemicals react, and it can kind of erode your foundation. And that's why you have to repair it later on. And I think they didn't do the repairs fast enough, as they didn't know, and unfortunately the whole building came down. Now at first when I read the report, there was only casualties, and then I read like 8 people had passed away, and I was like, that's pretty bad. That's sad that happened. But what's happy is those people will be alive and well again in the future. It might take a millennium. It might take centuries to get there, but it'll happen. So you gotta take heart, you know, to have a little faith. So the size of a mustard seed. So sorry I do that with my eyes. I don't have my glasses on, even though I have one pair here. I can get a spinet piano. I didn't know what that is. Oh, is that like an acoustic piano? Or a grand piano? I'm kind of scared to put that in there because like whatever you get, okay, eventually you get everything here, but like whatever you get in here will become real. Your mind's gonna start like doing it. It kind of goes into your memory to 240 volt outlet. So if you're not familiar with electricity and different voltages, there's basically 2 types when it comes to AC, and they have different outlet shapes. There's actually multiple 200, 240s when you learn more deeper about that. There's ones that are a little wider, the prongs. The prongs are actually circular. The ones in America, the prongs are usually flat, and then there's a circular one at the bottom. So They all need to be grounded, and you got to check your electricity just in case. But some days it's not grounded with the. Strangely, the ground can disappear or shrink or something. It's something odd that happens, and then it reappears. So, so you might have to put in, I really think, one ground for every outlet or more, and then you're gonna be okay. And then maybe have like an emergency kind of exterior ground so that you can see. If you put it on the outside, people can actually see it. So that's better, so they know for sure it's grounded. Otherwise, you hide everything in the wall. I don't like doing that because you have to drill out the wall and plan a hole and build around it. It adds up to be a lot of extra work for nothing when you can put everything on the outside and still be just as safe, you know. And it's more easier to work with later on, I think. And it doesn't ruin the wall in case you have to replace it in the future. Because there are probably electrical wires and boxes and materials that would last over 100 years. We call them commercial quality. Sometimes heavy duty is another one. Industrial quality, high quality, highest quality, most durable. Those ones do exist, but they're usually expensive and hard to find. But if you can get them from like a recovered building and get the salvage price from them, then that helps. You know, there's companies that do that, or you can do it yourself. You know, every weekend or 2 days a week, do that, collect that stuff for your house, and you can ask, you know, for the donation, and then just write a receipt for those people and the credit that they deserve. So, like the old saying, give credit where the credit is due. So smoke detector, a fire pole, my God, there's like a lot of things you can build. This list actually could go forever. Horizontal measure, and these are just drawing tool shapes. Okay, so there's actually some shapes built in already. That's kind of nice. And then this is the first time I ever got a chance to look at all this, so this is new to me. Dimensional architecture. So there's like different arcs. Cabinets are kind of fun. Wall cabinets versus kitchen cabinets, I guess. And then you got building core, so this is like a spiral staircase. Now I like the staircase idea. Just the scissor staircase sounds kind of cool. So let's just put a regular staircase first. Oh, that's nice. It's drawn out pretty cool, like that. So because I want to add one to this house in the back later on. And then your bathroom here, we're just going to throw a toilet in the room. Because I don't think I have the strength to do this. Surprisingly, it does take a lot of energy to lay this all out. So, there you go. So there's more items. What do we got in the bath and kitchen? Oh, bathtub, man. I haven't seen one of those in years. Countertop, sink, medicine cabinet. Oh, shower is good. Actually, you find out you don't need to have a bathtub right away. No, it costs a fortune. Like literally, if you had everything on that list, it'd be like millions of dollars to build, and the rest of your life. So, and you don't want to do all that at once, and you can't. You know, you gotta at least sleep and eat and exercise and go on vacations, you know. So try to be conservative. Just go with what you need. Be happy with that. Enjoy it. And once you get it built like this, then you go on from there. So I hope that helps. In Visio, there's a lot of options here. You got a whole row here. Probably like 100 things you can do here. So you can actually say this is a web page. That actually goes into another program that I forgot its name, but you can actually create web pages with the Office suite, and then edit view. You can change the view here. Add different toolbars, like an action toolbar. What does that do? Oh, okay. So those help different tools to draw out more things. Put in shadows, fill in color. Really anything you want, you can create. But you go with what you need first, and then add here and there what you want. You'll feel happier. Or you can go all out if you won the lottery and you're a multi-millionaire. Go for it. But I think I would get sick of working here so long. I've been here for almost 6 months this time, but usually I'm here only 3 months. And really we're working, like I'm resting sometimes. We're working a few hours a day. It saps all your energy to work hard and so heavy. A lot of stuff we had to carry by hand, which is good exercise, but it burns you out a bit. I think I aged a bit carrying so much concrete. And I wish I had a forklift and a nice road path. Because one thing is you want to build the roads coming in and out first before you pull in trucks and stuff. Otherwise they'll get stuck, especially on a wooded area or a place with a lot of rocks or just mud only. So you have to put a lot of rock, concrete, and some metal helps. Rebar, it helps hold it together so it doesn't do this all the time. Otherwise everything will crack and break. And if you're wondering how thick you gotta build things, it depends on how dense, honestly. But usually a road, you're talking about at least 3 to 6 inches. That's kind of a temporary road, compressed first, then you can put dirt first. That's better than clay. And then put later on more concrete later on. Or you can do all of it if you can afford it and find the right price, or get yourself a CDL. You actually become a concrete driver, get the inside price of the company, get the discount for driving, and get paid to do your own concrete. That kind of cuts down the price. So, and then just quit when you're done, and come back when you want to help. Some owners want to push you to work more and more, and it's just too much sometimes. Sometimes you need a break. Sometimes you need to work on your other jobs. Like renting out your home space is huge. I hope to get my ads up. I haven't been able to do that recently. So, be able to host a party, a get together, birthdays for somebody, parties, even do like a video documentary or something, and even some adult stuff, which somebody will say drinking. Like I drink water and juice and soda, but I'm really not into alcohol because it severely affects me and hurts me. And you find out the effects of alcohol as you grow up. But yeah, so I hope I can get that done. Like this week I've been trying to do it for years. I always get caught up in other works, and then there's always some hook on any web page I go to. Like extra stuff that never used to be required. Like they never used to ask you phone numbers when you had an email. Now they want your email, your phone number. Amazon, like seller accounts now ask for a passport number. I'm like, my God. Like they really want a lot of information that most people can't remember. Like I've had multiple passports, so the numbers are different. And I wish we could just go with one ID number your whole life. It'd be so much easier, or just by your name, and that's done. That's good already. But I guess they wanted to show that information. They do sell passports on Amazon.com already. Some cool ones like the Earth Passport, the Heaven Passport. I like that one. I'm just trying to figure out how to combine it into something for religious people, as they call it. 'Cause I'm one of them, I'll be honest. I can't hide, but sometimes I am a little atheistic. Or ateo, as they call it in Spanish. I'm like, yeah. But sometimes you think, not really without God, but more distant from God. You know, there's things might be easier just to leave God, the big man, or big woman, whatever you want to call him, or her, alone for a while. Because if you're constantly praying to God, it has to give God a headache sometimes to hear the same thing over again. So, and in His presence, you have to be careful what you actually truly are saying. You know, your true intentions. So, which I hope everybody lives forever and is happy forever and healthy forever. We're getting there. It's just, I'm not sure exactly when. So I'm hoping in the next 1,000 years or less. Anyways, so going back to this, there's a water cooler. Oh, that's different. I didn't see that before. And a water heater. And a trash compactor. A food cooler. What's the difference between a food cooler? Oh, I know what it is. It's like that. Like when you go to a cafeteria, you'll see it like a glass box, and it doesn't have a freezer and a cooling unit like a refrigerator usually does. But some refrigerators are fancier; they have more stuff, and then they have ice boxes, and some actually have like a special code to open it, and alarm and everything. So. Okay, I think that's it. That's most of the stuff here. Over here is convert to walls. What does that do? Oh, it converts something to walls. Okay, it didn't work with that. There's shapes here. I'm gonna do kind of a tour on what this is. The spell check I've used. This is, it just says spelling, but it's actually a spell check here, a replacement. You can say yes. This is complete. I don't think I've put any words yet, so it's pretty much very little to check. Research is kind of interesting, but it doesn't do much unless you have the whole pack. Oh, you can actually research like the in-house help book or files. So charts, equations, that's kind of cool. CAD drawings. Oh, there's like a Microsoft CAD. Oh, you can add a CAD drawing into this drawing. Oh, okay, that's new. I never knew that. So there's a lot of stuff here. You can check it out. We'll go through it maybe later on in another video when I give a full tour of Visio. But this is just the construction drawing. So if you're more comfortable drawing it out by hand and then making a digital copy, that's good to do too. You find out by hand, you'll have the most freedom to draw anything you want. On the computer, it's cool to draw, but it's, you know, this is a mechanical, visual representation of what you want to see. Like this bed here is already pre-done. I'm actually able to draw a line on top of it. I was trying to grab it, so you can actually move it around. So there's like 2 pillows and a blanket already there, and a blanket pulled down like usually how my bed really is, which is actually right behind me. Because my dad's someday thinking about that. But he thinks that it makes a big difference. And I'm like, I don't think it makes a big difference. I mean, your blanket's here or there. The world's not gonna change. You don't get paid more to do it. It doesn't even look different after a while. You don't notice or feel anything if you're not aware of it, and it's like you know, if you look at it, it's like a special shape, a special organization that is like higher than calculus actually. So we're trying to redraw that, you know, how blankets folded up a certain way is so hard sometimes. It's like easy in your mind, but it's like when you really do it, it's more difficult because you can't see it, and then you can't copy that image or replicate that image to paper. So that's why using the software helps a little, but there's some limitations. Yes, you can draw anything you want. I did say that, but that takes some time, and you could actually put people in here and stuff if you wanted to see what it looks like. It's kind of weird. You use it to make a little movie later on, like the Visio movie, or whatever you want. So that's kind of the next step of the drawing here. More items in the drawing. We're going to continue to work on this one in another video. Right now, I'm going to take a little break. So thanks for watching, everybody. Sorry I jumped back and forth. It's not a smooth transition yet, though. Like on my computer, it doesn't jump as much. But if you're watching, just close your eyes if it hurts. Or kind of lean or lean back or lean at an angle, and it'll be better. This video is a little grainy. Sorry, I'm having trouble having enough room for HD and then keeping it HD, because in YouTube it actually converts it to SD quality. So and then it just by default plays that SD quality. Alright, so God bless everyone. Thanks for watching, and if you can, please take a free subscription to the channel, and comment if you want. I try to leave it open for all comments on all the videos, because I really want to read and get the valid criticism and communicate with people. You know, I hope to hear from all of you eventually. There's like billions of people to get through, so please be patient, and your turn will come. We're gonna meet face to face, and hopefully have a great time and a good time, and go all the way to the top. All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you later, and we'll see you all on the next vid.